heard David loud and clear. I understand what he's saying. I still can't imagine a world in which the headline tomorrow is not about Joe Biden.
That's certainly right. And I want to go back to David's point where he was saying that this is about the American people. I actually think this is about Joe Biden. And this has always been about Joe Biden, this debate, because Joe Biden decided to run for a second term. Joe Biden put all of this on his shoulders. He put democracy on his shoulders. He put the nation on his shoulders. And now it's on him. And he's the one who called for this debate. He's the one who laid out the rules for how these debates would be governed. And so this is all on him. And so tonight, he did not look good. He looked enfeebled. He looked weak. He looked like he was not there. And Democrats should be worried, but the rest of the country should be worried because our commander in chief does not seem healthy, does not seem to be all the way there. And the United States is engaged in a number of crises around the world. And this should be something that should concern all of us. But Joe Biden needs to figure out if he is going to stand in as president. And if he is, he needs to show the American people he can do the job. And tonight, he did not show us that. And I think that is something that he needs to own and he needs to be accountable for, as well as the rest of the party.
I feel like the discussion about what happens next has been amplified in the last 90 minutes to the nth degree. Like, there will be, my anticipation is more people in the next 24 hours talking about the possibility of him no longer being the candidate than all the previous months combined. Do you think that is an actual possibility?
After what we saw tonight, I do believe that the party needs to come together to determine what the next steps are. Joe Biden, there were moments when you felt sorry for him. You felt like this was a man who didn't know where he was and didn't understand what was going on around him. And I do believe, just like a punch-drunk fighter, sometimes people need to step in and save people from themselves. And I think right now the party is going to need to decide if democracy can be salvaged, if it can be saved. The Democrats are going to have to come up with a plan on how to do that. And if it's Joe Biden, then Joe Biden needs to show the country and he needs to show his party much more than what he did tonight. If it's going to be someone else, then the party needs to make that decision, and they need to make that decision very, very soon. But they have to do something, and they have to do it now.
Do you think, I mean, you know the names Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, like they've been bandied about. My guess is they will be bandied about in a much more serious way in the coming days. Like, how would that even work? Would he essentially have to say, I'm stepping aside, and would there be a race to replace him, or would the party, can the party just decide on one person?
The party is going to have to get together and say, who is the person that is universally loved by this party, that if we put their name forward, that the party will get behind this and the party will accept this, recognizing that President Biden simply isn't able to not only stand as the candidate for the party, but is simply unable to do the job for the next 4 years. If it's Kamala Harris, then it's Kamala Harris. If it's Gavin Newsom, it's Gavin Newsom. If it's someone else, then it's someone else. But it has to be someone.
What do you think went wrong here? Like, he's been preparing for the last week. Would the people helping to prepare him not have realized that this was ultimately going to happen?
You know, when Biden first spoke, when the debate began, you could hardly hear him. His voice was very raspy. He seemed like he lost his voice. And you're right. This was, I mean, Joe Biden had been holed up in Camp David, we're told, going through debate prep, and he looked like he had done none of that. Whereas early on, what you saw from Donald Trump was someone who actually looked like they'd gone through debate prep. In fact, the way he pivoted on the January 6th question made clear that this was someone who had been prepping for this moment, for this debate. We didn't see any of that from Joe Biden, which begs the question, is it that he simply is not up to doing the job? Because no matter what they did, it simply didn't work because he just physically cannot do this anymore. And I think that's what we saw tonight. And I don't think the party should continue to push Joe Biden to do a job that all Americans are seeing that he simply is not up to the task of doing. I think it's time for the party to recognize that Joe Biden cannot do this and that it's not up to the American people to decide who that person is going to be. It is up to the party to decide who that person, whose shoulders are they going to put this on, but it's not up to the American people.
Right.